Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to another Breakfast Club. It's 11:14 a.m. according to my clock, at least. It's only 16 minutes to the deadline, and I am joined by Az. How are you doing?
Hello, Andy. It's weird. I can't see you on my screen, but I assume you're there somewhere.
Yeah, I'm here. Everyone else can see me in my kind of green screen background, just waving around. But yeah, you, like, maybe fortunately don't get to see my face when we do this, but you
Well, I
can
didn't
hear
want to say
me.
anything.
Well, yeah. So yeah, I think this is the first time me and you have done Breakfast Club. So a little bit different. Obviously, there's quite a lot to, or at least there has been a lot to go through this week with all the kind of double game week stuff coming very late, and obviously De Bruyne is injured, then he's fine or potentially fine. So we're going to talk about all that, and I think we'll just start by kind of just going through our team. So we'll start with your team first. You're the guest here. So we'll go through your team. If you just want to take us through like what transfers you made this week, captaincy and that kind of thing, and I'll
Yeah.
bring it up on stream.
Oh, it's been a really difficult week, actually, in terms of knowing what to do. There seems to be so many players that I want, like Alonso and Doherty and people. And then the news of the double obviously meant that City players and Arsenal players came into the reckoning. And then, De Bruyne with his injury out and Vardy still not kind of not fully fit or has trained, but will have some involvement. Kind of made me think, oh, do I really want to be holding on to him? And yeah, so all week I was kind of debating what to do. I was pretty set on doing. Well, Martial was definitely going to go because I just haven't been very impressed with him. They've got a couple of tough games coming up. He's got the blank as well in 31, so I always knew he was going to go. And then it was trying to decide who else to shift. So I was going to actually switch out Madison for Pepe and captain him, which meant sticking with Vardy and not having Aubameyang. And as the hours sort of drew on yesterday, I was just thinking, I just don't think I can go without Aubameyang. Like he just seems just so by far the best captain option this week. He's got the home game against West Ham. He's in good form. Arsenal are on a fairly decent run, and Vardy just hasn't done anything to justify my faith in holding him for this long, apart from having a really good fixture against Villa. So, yeah, in the end, it's a reluctant sell of Vardy to Aubameyang, and then that let me move Martial out for Sarr, who has the game in 31, and you don't really talk about how great he was against Liverpool, but looks a pretty solid option. So I think it's a -4 taken, but it gets me an extra player for that 31 match, and it gets me Aubameyang in, who I think is the best captain option this week. So relatively happy with that. My big concern here is Robertson. I just don't think he's going to play today. I don't know if we'll get, if the Chelsea and team news in a bit. I'm kind of anxiously checking, but my gut feeling is that he might be benched with Trent playing because he missed out in the cup and Robertson played. So yeah, players. I think this is a minefield of a week. I think there's loads of players that could do well. There's going to be loads of hits taken. Wild cards are being played. Free hits are being played, and I have absolutely no idea what's going to happen. So it's an exciting one, but also fairly stressful.
Yeah, I hear you. I think with Vardy, so I was kind of earlier in the week. I was thinking about. I don't have him, but I was thinking that if I did have him, I'd probably be keeping because Rogers kind of made it sound like he was going to play. Like he'd train on Friday, and then by the time Monday comes around, which obviously is the latest game this week, he'd be okay. But I haven't actually got it up on screen. But there was a new kind of quote. I think it was yesterday night. It basically said, "We're still a few days away. He looked very good in training, so we'll monitor this weekend and see when we get to Monday where he's at." Whereas before, he kind of said
Yeah.
he didn't say he'd be available, but it made it, the way he quoted it made it sound like he would be available. And he said, "I'm pretty sure he'll have an involvement." And as soon as someone says that, I just think, well, that's off the subs bench potentially. So I think I know a lot of people were looking at getting rid of him this week, and my opinion has kind of changed as the week's gone on. I think I mean, it's a double game week, and also Aubameyang has better fixtures kind of in and around the
Yep.
blank as well. So Vardy's got Watford away, and they've been conceding quite a few goals, but obviously they were so good against Liverpool, and I think, like you said, Sarr just makes them a better team overall. And obviously when you're on the attack, you're not defending, so I think that helps. And then it's Everton away after that, then Palace at home, Arsenal away. So they're not awful fixtures, but like they're not in any form. So you're really hoping that Villa would, bring the form. They can't play Villa every single week, so I think that's a good move. What are you thinking about
Yeah.
Madison longer term though? Because I mean
Oh
he's been
well.
awful. I had
I
him for a
know.
bit, but yeah, he's been awful.
Yeah, I mean they've kind of all been awful. So I'm hoping that it's just a kind of a product of that and not just him, not just him personally. I mean he's been playing quite deep. Ndidi's been out, so Ndidi got 60 minutes, exactly 60 minutes in the cup match, like Roger said. So I think with him playing, it frees Maddison up a bit. He's been playing quite deep with him out, and I think he's going to be a bit more advanced, hopefully with Ndidi back. I mean I'm going to be wildcarding in 32 anyway, I think 32, 33. So I've only really got to hold him on for a few more weeks. And I'm happy to have a Leicester player for this Villa game. It's Monday night. Villa are going to concede chances. I can't imagine Leicester not scoring in that game. And Maddison tends to be quite heavily involved in all things that happen with Villa's attacking play. So I'm happy to have a Leicester player. I'm not too bothered about not having two anymore. So yeah, I mean, I could have gone for Barnes last week. I know lots of people did, or Perez. I don't think there's much in it between Barnes, Perez, and Maddison. I think they've all got their kind of drawbacks. They've all got their advantages. So he's as good as any of them.
And what's your kind of thinking on De Bruyne? Because that's like Vardy's kind of gone the opposite way. I feel like now there's less chance of him starting, and De Bruyne has kind of gone from I thought I was going to be okay not owning him, and now it sounds like there's a good chance he's going to start twice. So what do you think about him? Is it just a case? Is it just a case of if you've got him, you just can't captain him, but you have to keep him? Simple as that.
Yeah, yeah, I guess so. I mean, if I was, free hitting or wildcarding or something, you might be able to make the case for taking him out. But the news has been pretty good, I think. I mean, you got to think he's going to start one of the two games. He was training. Was he training? I think there's pictures of him training.
I think so. Someone told I haven't looked into that. Someone told me that video on Twitter was a montage. I don't know if that. I never looked into it to find out if it was, but kind of from the whole week. So I don't know when he got the shoulder injury, but I mean the quotes are kind of the last quote seemed to be a bit better. He kind of said he's getting better. Today we didn't train. Tomorrow will prove. I spoke this morning with the physio and he said that he feels better. Not perfect, but better. We'll see. And given the fixtures, you'd think if he was going to be in any way available, like he'd want to play against those big rivals. So
yeah, I mean it's the Burnley match, isn't it? It's the Burnley match where he could potentially be more at risk if he kind of has his minutes managed over the next two games, and he might miss that Burnley game. It's who knows? Like literally, who knows? I mean, you've got Guardiola saying that Foden is, sort of playing amazingly, and he's definitely going to have some involvement against United. I mean, does that mean a 3-minute cameo at the end of the match, or does that mean he's going to start over De Bruyne? Like, you literally, City are horrible in this kind of situation with the Champions League coming up. All kind of guns blazing for that. And so many options, players in form, like league's already gone, so do they even care about that anymore? Like honestly, it's difficult coming on here and trying to advise people. But
it kind of sucks this week because a double game week with Man City should be exciting. We should all be trying to get 3 players in. They could usually smash it. I mean, it is Man United away. I mean, Arsenal at home game I think is okay. Man United away I think will be tricky enough. I wouldn't see us conceding a huge amount of goals. We probably will concede, but it's Man City. Like Aguero is one that no one seems to own, but there's a chance that he's going to play twice. So we'll have to see. I'll bring up my team quick. I think people are starting to talk about team news in the chat. No Robertson, potentially. I don't know if this is confirmed or not, but no Robertson. I think everyone kind of thought that could happen. It sounds like Mane's starting, though, because he obviously played that game as well. So that's interesting. So I'll just bring your team actually quickly back up. So are you just going to just leave Robertson in and keep Taylor on the bench, or just put Taylor in and hope that Robertson doesn't come on?
I'll just put Taylor in. Yeah, I'd rather. I mean, I don't know if Robertson's on the bench or not, but I'd rather have a player who's starting than a player on the bench, no matter kind of who it is. And like Spurs, playing Spurs at home, I think there is a decent chance of a Burnley clean sheet.
And also, as we know, Alisson is missing out, and so as soon as I heard that news, I was actually fairly happy not to have. Not happy not to have double clean sheet, double defence for Liverpool, because obviously it is still Bournemouth at home, but yeah, not good. I've brought my team up on screen, and I've just realised I've got my team from last week. So by the power of the magic of YouTube, I'm going to put up my proper team. Bam, there we go. So that's my proper team now. So I've basically done one transfer, Firmino to Aubameyang. It sounds like Firmino's going to start, but I kind of knew he would anyway because he got, I think he got rested in the last game. I think he only came on towards the end of the FA Cup match. But he's been a frustrating one because we're going to look at the goals imminent table in a minute, and he's still on there. and there's every chance that he will score against Bournemouth. His underlying stats have been good. The last game in the Premier League wasn't good. The two before that, I thought he was okay and unlucky not to score. But longer term, I think I'd rather have Mane. So I don't have a wild card. I only have 3 hit left. I don't really want to use it in game week 31 because I feel like my team, like even when I had Firmino, I basically had 8 players for game week 31. So I've taken 1 out, down to 7. We'll talk about Traore in a sec, get your thoughts on him. I'm not really counting him. Maybe that will change if they play him today against Brighton. But right now I've got 6 kind of players, and I'm just going to work back from there. And if I get to kind of 9 or so with a hit, I think I'm okay with that. So I've done Firmino to Aubameyang. I don't have Kevin De Bruyne, which has got more of a worry. But I just can't justify it. It's 8 points to get him in. There's no even if I didn't get Aubameyang in, it would have cost me 4. And I just think Aubameyang's definitely going to play both. And he's been so consistent this season. The only reason we haven't really owned him is because it's just situational. Oh, have you? Sorry, yeah, I don't mean sorry, I don't mean literally, but like he's not really been as highly owned as he probably should have for the amount of goals he scored, and that's simply just because there's so many cheap strikers that have done well. So it's just situational, and the situation is now he's got a double game week, so he's in. He probably won't last until game week 31 for me, but I'm playing 4-3-3 because I'm just not confident enough about Traore. I think if he plays this week, I don't know what your thoughts are because you own him too, then I might reconsider my stance about him being a risk because I think 3-4-3 against Spurs kind of made sense. I don't know if it does against Brighton. So if they do play it, then maybe Nuno's just going to go back to that. But if they play 3-5-2, then I have to get rid of him. I think Jota's in such good form that I just want to get him instead. So yeah, I'm kind of I'm not taking a hit. Like I thought about a hit for Sarr to get him in for Traore. And it's something I might do later on anyway, so that did kind of make me think about just doing it this week. But I'm just playing Stevens against Newcastle. I know people have kind of gone off Southampton defence a little bit, but it's Newcastle and it's at home, and Stevens has got a bit of goal threat as well. So I'm just doing that. So that's basically why I've not got De Bruyne, because it's 8 points plus whatever Stevens gets. He has to beat that over a double game, which there is a chance he doesn't play both games. I don't know. Do you think I'm just kind of trying to justify?
Your team looks mad. I love it.
Mad good or mad bad?
Well, it's different, isn't it? I mean, double Sheffield United. It's hard to tell with Stevens and Egan. They've got almost the same kit. So double Sheffield United defence, fought the back. I mean, I've always had you down as the biggest sort of advocate of double game weeks ever. Like you'd tear your team apart to get in 3 or 4 double game week players. I'm amazed you've only got 1.
So here's the thing. Basically, I let Aubameyang go up in price to 11.1. If I hadn't done that, I could have done the 8-point hit to get De Bruyne with Saka. But as soon as I couldn't do that, it meant an 8-point hit to bring in someone that wasn't Saka, like Hayden or something. So it's an 8-point hit just to get De Bruyne. And like, it's Man City and Arsenal. The problem is everyone is so expensive. Like Nketiah maybe at 4.3. If he starts again, he could be decent if you're like playing a 3-5-2. But I'm not. And Ings has got Newcastle. Jimenez has got Brighton. And I've kind of been looking at midfielders that I want. And up until game week 31, like I'm going to probably bring in Mane and Sarr. I don't like Antonio and Ali. There could be options, but because of their price, especially with Ali, it's like tough to fit him in. And I don't want to get rid of Liverpool players. So it's just. I know I do kind of want to rip my team apart, but at the same time, it's difficult.
Frustrating, isn't it? Because like Pepe to me is like the ultimate kind of differential punt this week. Like he could do really well. He could get 1 point. He could miss a game completely, or he could get like 20 points, 25 points. But like he's not like a 7 or 8 million punt. He's like a 9.2 punt. It's so hard.
Exactly.
Like it's like a complete, decimating your team just to get in someone who I don't think anyone's got that much faith in. Anyway, and then players like Saka and Nketiah. I mean, it's not exactly, and like Foden as well. They're not exactly like most exciting picks, are they? Like you're taking 4 8-point hits, and you'd probably be lucky to get that back. just
exactly. And
you
definitely wouldn't want them long term either. That's the other problem. No. And game week, I'm trying not to like be fixated on game week 31, but obviously you do have to take it into consideration. Actually, talking about that Aubameyang price rise again, if I'd got him in before that price rise, I could have actually done Traore straight to Pepe because I've got quite a bit of money in the bank, like 3 odd million now. So that would have been a punt. I actually think if I was going to punt on anyone, if De Bruyne was definitely fit for the 2, I'd easily get him in. But if I was going to punt on anyone outside that, it would be Pepe, I think, because I think there's a good chance he plays both. He's only been rested or not played once in like the last kind of 5-6 fixtures. So yeah, it looks pretty good. Anyway, we're a minute away from team news, so the official team news, I should say. Just before that comes in, let me get your thoughts on Traore. So there's a new quote that's come out that Scout have put up today. I'm worried, but I'm hopefully can maintain and stay with us without needing any kind of surgery. He's doing okay. He's ready. It's very painful when it happens, but after that, it settles down. He's able to train and compete. So, what's your thinking about him? Is he just in? Have you still got him just because you just don't have a spare transfer? Are you going to get rid of him before 31?
Pretty much. No, I mean I'm not getting rid of him. I mean I'm not aiming to free hit or wildcard before 31. So I kind of need as many players who have a fixture in that game as possible. He's I think he's likely to he pretty much either starts or comes on for a bit. And I think like a Traore running at you at 60 minutes, a fresh Traore at 60 minutes is still pretty scary for defenders. So I think he has a chance of getting points even if he does come off the bench. The problem with him was, and I remember saying it a few months ago. I remember when everyone was buying him, when he was starting and in kind of great form. He's just an incredibly inconsistent player, and I mean he's cheap, so he was only 5.2, 5.3 at that time, so it wasn't too bad. But he's the kind of player who doesn't ever really do anything when you want him to, and seems to score when he's on your bench or playing against City or a tough game. So that was always a bit of a worry. Now he's kind of out of the team or in and out of the team because they're sort of they can't decide on a formation. They're kind of switching around. Yotta's playing really well, so they're not playing with the wingers. They've gone back to the wing back system, giving them the width. So that means Traore's out. So his place in the team's now under threat. He's got this shoulder injury as well, which, I mean, it doesn't sound good, does it? Like at the end of every week, Nuno's like, yeah, he's
dislocated again. Whatever.
Yeah, dislocated again. Like, just how like De Bruyne's got a shoulder injury and he's a doubt for all the 2 matches. Traore gets a shoulder injury and it's like, oh yeah, he's a beast.
Seen the size? Yeah, I've seen the size of him.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll move on from Traore. The team sheets are out. So I'll do Liverpool first. So Adrian in goal, as we knew, kind of Alisson's out for this game, and I think he's going to miss Atletico as well. He might be back after that. So
wow, that's massive.
Yeah, it might not be just time to panic on double defence, but obviously if he is out a little bit longer, it might be a bit of a worry. But it sounds like he might be back after Atletico. Trent plays, Alexander Gomez, Van Dijk. So it is Milner in for Robertson.
Yeah.
Which also has a knock-on effect because if they get a penalty now, Milner will likely take that ahead of Salah. Yep. So a lot of people obviously, I don't know a lot. I haven't seen the numbers yet, but I saw a good few people talking about captain and a Liverpool player over one of the double Gameweek players, which obviously was a knock-on from De Bruyne's news and maybe people not wanting to go for Aubameyang. So that's a bit of a knock-on. No penalties. Obviously, you can still get goals from outside of that, but all the front 3 starts in Mane, Salah, Firmino. And then the middle 3 is Fabinho, Wijnaldum and Oxlade-Chamberlain, which I think is pretty good actually because Ox, I think, he just seems a bit more, gets them attacking a bit more than maybe Keita does at times. I think Keita's an interesting one because he's just not really got running in that Liverpool team, even though there's a lot of expectation. But yeah, so it's a pretty strong team, but obviously Gomez's back is good, but Alisson missing out, not good. And no Robertson. Did you make the swap? Did you put Taylor in?
Is it the 3 up front then? Firmino, Salah?
Yeah, Firmino, Salah. Yeah. Did you put Taylor in?
Yeah, Taylor's it. I mean, okay. Robertson's not in the squad, is he? I don't think so. It wouldn't have made.
That's a good point, actually. Yeah, he's not in the squad at all. Yeah, so it doesn't actually matter if you've played him. And then
Charlie Taylor, 4.2, Burnley defender.
I think he's great because you can just hold him. You don't need because he's just enabling the rest of your team, so you can hold him for Gameweek 31. I think he's perfect. And he's got 2 back-to-back 6-pointers as well. So we should do Bournemouth as well, even though I don't think anyone cares. But you never know. I shouldn't say that. There's probably some Bournemouth fans watching. So King is out with a hamstring injury. Stanislas has come in, and then the rest of the team's unchanged. So Ramsdale in goal. Stacey, right back. Smith on the left. Ake and Cook in the middle.
Rico's done then.
Yeah, Rico is done, I think. He's on the bench because it happened earlier in the season when I owned him that he got taken out for a game and put back in, but now he's missed a couple. I think he's no longer an option. Obviously, some people may be holding on hope for the blank.
Yeah, that's frustrating, isn't it? If you hold him for the blank and then he's
Yeah.
and then he's not even playing. Yeah.
It ain't happening. Lerma, the other cook, and Billing in the middle, and then it's Fraser, Wilson, and Stanislas front three. Which, I don't know, seems
Wow.
quite nice and attacking there. I mean, they're going to go for it, aren't they? They're not going to sit back, which is good for all our Liverpool players. So a lot of people saying to me, like, are you worried about not having De Bruyne? I'm also worried about not having Mane this week. Like, he's going to be, he could easily outscore Salah. So we'll see what happens there. Just before we go, we'll have a quick look at the goals imminent table. It would be rude not to. Kind of a staple of this channel and Breakfast Club. So I'll bring that up on the screen. There is a player on here which worries me a little bit, which is Sergio Aguero, right at the top. So look, we'll have to wait and see whether he plays both games. But I think if he does, and if De Bruyne does miss out, maybe he gets penalties back. But it'd be interesting to see when those two are on the pitch who actually takes them.
It's pretty much a straight up choice between him and Aubameyang, wasn't it? In the end, the kind of security of Aubameyang playing meant that I wasn't really considering Aguero too strongly. But I think if you've got Aguero, you've got a potentially amazing. I mean, he got a hat trick against Arsenal last time round, didn't he? Last double game week. Well, not last. Last year they played Arsenal. I remember he got a hat trick in that, and then blanked against Everton. I didn't have him in that either. So yeah, I mean,
I don't think I had him. I don't think I've had him all season.
No, nor have I actually. I think it's probably the longest run I've had without him. I think anyone that's got Aguero though is could be onto something really good, or something awful. Who knows?
Yeah, that's the thing. That's the thing. Like a few people have been saying it. Like it's one of those weeks where it's really hard to pick the player. But if you do pick the right one, then it could be a huge week for you. It's just it's really hard. Looking at this, Callum Wilson on there. I can see Bournemouth maybe scoring today. I think Anderson is that big of a miss. Although Gomez back is pretty huge as well. And Firmino's on there. I feel like Firmino's my nemesis at the moment. Failed experiment for the last 3 weeks. I would not be surprised if he gets some points still. Though it is at home. I think it's like nearly a year since he scored at home.
Yeah.
So that is just. I hate those kind of stats because there's really no reason why that happens. It's just a massive anomaly, and at some point he is going to score. It's not like he's going to go the rest of his career without scoring at Anfield. So I think this is as good as we can anyway. But we'll see. And Sterling is also on there, so another double game week player. What do you think? Do you think there's much chance of him getting 2 games? Or do you think it's a case of maybe 1 game plus 20-30 minutes?
It's interesting. I mean, Sterling, at the start of the season, after he got that hat trick, you said something like, okay, this could be, 2/3 of the way through the season, Man City can have a double game week, and literally no one is going to have Sterling, a fit Sterling in their team. You'd be like, of course they are. He's going to be one of the top scorers this season, but it just hasn't happened. I think he's an interesting one. I haven't seen anyone with him, any teams with him. He didn't play in the FA Cup, did he? So
yeah, he was definitely on the bench. I don't think he came on. No.
No, so I think he's definitely good for at least one start in these. He just has absolutely no form though at all.
He's not that good at all. I don't know what's happened. If it's just confidence, or I've seen some people say that maybe Sané being out for so long has just affected him having to play on that side so much.
But then against in the cup final, in the Carabao Cup final, he came on and he was absolutely brilliant. So. He won the penalty, didn't he? And just looked generally really lively. So, yeah, I think he's an intriguing one. I just think with Aubameyang there, it's quite hard to justify that because you people would have to literally switch their temes up to get him.
It's getting rid of a Liverpool player essentially.
Yeah. I think if you want a free hit, he's a good pick for this week that not many people would have. So yeah, see some free hits.
I'd say there's probably some wild cards out there as well. I should quick shout out to my son who does have Sterling, mostly because we haven't changed his team for like 3 or 4 weeks, but he's in there now, so he's hoping he gets something in the double game week. All right, I think we shall leave it there. Thanks very much for joining me. Got some great news as well. Az has kindly offered to step in next week again to host instead of me because I'm actually going to do a 10-mile charity walk over in England.
Oh, nice.
So. Yeah, that's taking some time off to go and do a walk that's probably going to kill my knees. But I'll worry about that after next Saturday. So, yeah, Az will hopefully be here next week hosting with David probably. We'll figure that out. So, yeah, make sure to tune in for that. Good luck, Az. Thanks for joining.